You know what's crazy?
Your stream's running?
Oh, word.
Alright, there we are. Proverbs. Alright. Hello, welcome to Children of the Circumcision. Today's our daily Bible reading. I'm Khalil, and this is
Xavier, what's going on, people?
Today we're going to be continuing our reading of Genesis. We'll be starting out with Genesis 32. Last time we read about the covenant of the Lord that he had made with Abraham being passed to his son Isaac, and from there Isaac having his two sons Jacob and Esau, and the Lord passing his passing his covenant from Isaac to his son Jacob, as well as Jacob going to the house of Laban, fleeing from his angry brother Esau, and having what would later be known as the 12 tribes of Israel, his 12, or as of now, 11 sons. With that being said, today is February 8th, so today we'll be starting our reading with our two Proverbs, Proverbs 7 and Proverbs 8 for both yesterday and today. But with that being said, we can go ahead and start with Proverbs 7. Yeah. Do you want to pick it or do you want me?
You can start it off.
Alright, cool. Proverbs 7 and verse 1. My son, keep my words, and lay up my commandments with thee. Keep my commandments and live, and my law as the apple of thine eye. Bind them upon thy fingers, write them upon the table of thine heart. Say unto wisdom, thou art my sister, and call understanding thy kinswoman, that they may keep thee from the strange woman, from the stranger which flattereth with her words. For at the window of my house I have looked through my casement, and beheld among the simple ones, I discerned among the youths, a young man void of understanding, passing through the street near her corner, and he went the way to her house, in the twilight, in the evening, in the black and dark night. And behold, there met him a woman with the entire of an harlot, and subtle of heart. She is loud and stubborn. Her feet abide not in her house. Now is she without, now in the streets, and lieth in wait at every corner. So she caught him, and kissed him, and with impudent face said unto him, I have peace offerings with me. This day have I paid my vows. Therefore came I forth to meet thee, diligently to seek thy face. And I have found thee. I have decked my bed with coverings of tapestry, with carved works, with fine linen of Egypt. I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let us take our fill of love until the morning. Let us solace ourselves with love. For the goodman is not at home. He is gone a long journey. He hath taken a bag of money with him, and will come home at the day appointed. With her much fair speech she caused him to yield. With the flattering of her lips she forced him. He goeth after her straightway, as an ox goeth to the slaughter, or as a fool to the correction of the stocks, till a dart strike through his liver, as a bird hasteth to the snare, and knoweth not that it is for his life. Hearken unto me now, therefore, O ye children, and attend to the words of my mouth. Let not thine heart decline to her ways, go not astray in her paths. For she hath cast down many wounded, yea, many strong men have been slain by her. Her house is the way to hell, going down to the chambers of death.
We're reading, bro.
Thank you. Yeah. I think Proverbs 7, it's, in our past readings we've read so far, Proverbs 4, 5, 6. 6 being very good, I think, lead into Proverbs 7, which is why it's written the previous chapter into this one. Proverbs talks a lot about the strange woman. This is one of the key chapters of which Solomon takes a lot of time to do so, albeit he doesn't necessarily use the term strange woman here. But even here, verse 10, we said, behold, there met him a woman with the entire of an harlot up to a heart. So it's the same thing he's talking about. Where we even talked about before that the woman being both in the literal sense and also like spiritual, that it could represent just being you drawn away from the Lord or drawn away from His commandments. Where that's like even like how he opens it up, right? My son, keep my words and lay up my commandments with thee. Keep my commandments and live in my laws, the apple of my eye. Where that's been a large, like, talking point of Proverbs, where to keep the law of the Lord, to bind it, like it is a light unto us, is a light unto our path, is a lamp, and it needs to be bound within you. And even the comparison he said with verse 4 about wisdom, saying to wisdom thou my sister, and call understanding thy kinsman. Well, wisdom and the law of God are really the same thing, but it's also still to the point that it should be within you. But it's all, again, still to the purpose for 5, that they may keep thee from the strange woman, from the stranger which flattereth with her words, where it is your defense against being drawn away, whether by a literal strange woman, like it even says in like 19, about like her trying to draw you away. 19, for the good man is not home, he's gone a long journey. So it could literally be the sense where this is an adulterous woman who's trying to pull you to commit literal adultery. Or it could even, like for us, like more oftentimes than a literal adulterous woman trying to pull us to do adultery, it could be any person or even our own lust drawing us towards spiritual adultery.
Right. To sin.
To sin, right? Against God, which could really be anything, right? Because, like, we sometimes think of, like, spiritual adultery is idolatry, right? Putting anything above God. But that's pretty much any sin, right? If the Lord tells you not to fornicate, like physically, and you do fornicate, well, you put that fornication above your love for God and above obeying God. That was idolatry in that moment.
Right.
Because you put that above God. The same way with a literal idol. The same way with, like, theft. Or anything that is breaking the Lord's law. You are choosing to do that rather than obey the Lord. You're putting it above the Lord.
Right.
So it is still spiritual adultery. It still is idolatry. It still is something that's drawing you away from God.
Right. Just to add to that, like when it says, verse 2, keep my commandments and live, and my law as the apple of thine eye, it's like it's your number one priority.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it says, bind them upon thy fingers, write them upon. Like this takes work. It's not just something that's going to happen. Like I know you typically end it with study to show thyself approved.
Yeah.
Like that's what this is. You are studying, you are seeking. You know, what is it, Proverbs 4, where it talks about seek wisdom?
Yeah.
Like
the principal thing.
Right, it's a principal thing. Like this is what you need to be doing so that when verse 5 happens and that strange woman presents itself, or them lusts come and present themselves to you, you can fight. Because fast forwarding to verse 26, it says, for she hath cast down many wounded, yea, many strong men have been slain by her. Like we look at Solomon himself.
Yeah.
In a literal sense. Solomon was the wisest person to ever live, but got persuaded, I guess you could say, and failed due to these women or his own lust.
Yeah.
Right? So if he can fall to this, so can we. You know what I'm saying? Who do we think we are? That's why it's priority, and that's why he says it right here. He starts it off with, let it be the apple of your eye. Like this is what you love. Seek ye first the kingdom. You know what I'm saying?
Like even to your point, even with Solomon, his father David being a really good example as well, where the example still being like a physical woman, right? But to the point, his lust for that physical woman caused him to commit adultery, and then trying to hide his adultery, commit murder by killing Uriah the Hittite. And then even to your point with the like it's your defense against sin, where like in James he talks about how like a man commits sins because he's drawn away by the lust of his own heart. Where it's your desire, but that law it can, like as Paul puts it convicts you. So it stops you from committing that sin because you know it's wrong.
And the crazy thing about it is you do that so much, you're not even, it's not a lust anymore.
Yeah, you don't even want to do it anymore.
And that's what that's what this does for you. That's why he's putting it like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like he said, if David fall victim to it, Solomon fall victim to it. David was a man after God's own heart.
Right.
Who are we? Like he's really saying that to say this is the highest level of importance to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Like to make it to salvation, you need to bind the word to you. It needs to be in the tables of your heart or in your mind at all times.
Yeah.
Meditate on the word day and night. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. And then even just like one last thing, with 25, let not thine heart decline to her ways, go not astray in her paths. Where at the end of the day, it's one of those things where even the chapter I think is very well showing it. She's convincing. There is no force. It's the same thing as even like James talks about. A man's drawn away by his own lust.
Yeah.
It's at the end of the day, it's always really you. It's let not thine heart decline to her ways. So you're leaning towards her ways because you're allowing yourself to do so. Because like it's the same, you really want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why it's so important, again, like you said, to have it bound within you, because a part of you wants to do it, but you know you can't, and you shouldn't. Where that even goes back to Paul, where he said, like, hey, there's another law within my members, the law of sin, that when I want to when I know to do good and I want to do good, I don't. Yeah. I do what is sin. And I hate what I do, because I know to do good, but I don't.
Right.
Whereas that whole thing where it's like, I know I'm supposed to be doing this, but part of me really wants this, and that's why it's important to have that law. Because otherwise there is no balance, you just start sinning. And like it says, her house is the way to hell, going down to the chambers of death. It leads to death. Yeah. It's a destruction in the end.
And so to take it back, we read this, Friday in Proverbs 6.
Yeah.
Just to re-stress the importance of Proverbs 6, verse 27 and 28. It says, can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burned? Can one go upon hot coals and his feet not be burned? Like, do not put yourself in position to fall victim. Yeah. And part of putting yourself in position is not girding yourself up with this word.
Yeah.
So you can fight. Right?
The man fall in the day of adversity. His strength is small.
Exactly. So, long story short, Proverbs 7 is telling us it's to strengthen yourself. Mm-hmm. Stay in the word, keep the law, keep it in your mind. That way you can protect yourself when this adulterous woman, both spiritually and physically, presents herself.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. But you got anything else?
No.
Alright, well, I'll pick up Proverbs 8.
Alright.
Proverbs 8 and verse 1. Does not wisdom cry, and understanding put forth her voice? She standeth in the top of high places, by the way in the places of the paths. She crieth at the gates, at the entry of the city, at the coming in at the doors. Unto you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of men. O ye simple, understand wisdom, and ye fools, be ye of an understanding heart. Hear, for I will speak of excellent things, and the opening of my lips shall be right. For my mouth shall speak truth, and wickedness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are unrighteousness. There is nothing froward or perverse in them. They are all plain to him that understandeth, and right to them that find knowledge. Receive my instructions, and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it. I, wisdom, dwell with prudence, and find out knowledge of witty inventions. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride, and arrogancy, and the evil way, and the froward mouth do I hate. Counsel is mine, and sound wisdom. I am understanding. I have strength. By me kings reign, and princes decree justice. By me princes rule, and nobles, even all the judges of the earth. I love them that love me, and those that seek me shall find me. And those that seek me early shall find me. Riches and honor are with me, yea, durable riches and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold, yea, than fine gold, and my revenue than choice silver. I lead in the way of righteousness, in the midst of the paths of judgment, that I may cause those that love me to inherit substance, and I will fill their treasures. The Lord possessed me in the beginning of his way, before his works of old. I was set up from everlasting, from the beginning, or ever the earth was. When there were no depths, I was brought forth. When there were no fountains abounding with water. Before the mountains were settled, before the hills was I brought forth. While as yet he had not made the earth, nor the fields, nor the highest parts of the dust of the world, when he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he set a compass upon the face of the depth, when he established the clouds above, when he strengthened the fountains of the deep, when he gave to the sea his decree, that the waters should not pass his command, when he appointed the foundations of the earth. Then I was by him, as one brought up with him, and I was daily his delight, rejoicing always before him, rejoicing in the habitable parts of his earth, and my delights were with the sons of men. Now therefore hearken unto me, O ye children, for blessed are they that keep my ways. Hear instruction, and be wise, and refuse it not. Blessed is the man that heareth me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the post of my doors. For whoso findeth me, findeth life, and shall obtain favor of the Lord. But he that sinneth against me, wrongeth his own soul. All they that hate me, love death.
I think with chapter 8, again, it's the same. We saw it a little bit even with the beginning of chapter 7, and we see that, again, a lot in the past Proverbs, and we'll see it a lot more. Wisdom being compared unto a woman, right? Which I always, especially, I think it's a really good thing with Proverbs, that it shows, especially with us reading 7 and 8 here together, it's showing you a dichotomy, where wisdom as a woman and the strange woman, where it's really the flesh versus the spirit. Because like the wisdom we know to be the Word of God, especially through like past Proverbs as well as just stuff we continually read in the New Testament as well. But wisdom is the Word of God. It is the commandment, because the Lord even says the law is a light and a lamp. In the same way it talks about wisdom, right? But all still to the same point, wisdom, as he puts it, she stands at the top of high places by the way. In the places of the path, she cried at the gates at the entry of the city, at the coming in at the doors. Unto you, O men, I call, my voice is to the sons of men. O ye simple, understand wisdom, ye fools, be of an understanding heart. Here, if I will speak of excellent things, and the opening of my lips shall be right, for my mouth speaks truth, and wickedness is the abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are in righteousness, there is nothing forward or perverse in them. They are all plain to him that understands, and right to them that find knowledge. All still to the point that the Word of God is wisdom. There's nothing wrong within the Word of God. Everything within it is true. And he's saying with like the law, right? Where, like as Paul puts it, the law is holy, just, and good, right? Where all of this is the standard of what is right. But all still to the point, even in Proverbs, we see this thing continue of wisdom crying out. But like he opens up in verse 1, doth not wisdom cry, understanding put forth her voice? She standeth in the top of high places by the way, places of the path. But who will hear wisdom? Who will hear its cry? That's why it says, like, you seek after wisdom. That's why it even says in 11, wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things may be desired, but not to be compared to it. But the issue that we have, and that's even addressed in 7, is that, well, that's not really what we're looking for. Our desire falls unto the strange woman. It falls unto the lusts of our heart. But what we really should be seeking, the same way even Christ talks about, do not seek the treasures of this earth, but seek the treasures that are in heaven. We should be looking for the wisdom of God. We, as even Paul says, the wisdom of God rather than the wisdom of men. All still to the point that it is that same balance where we have to search for and put our value into the Word of God, into wisdom rather than the things of this life, rather than sin, rather than our flesh, than everything else.
Mm-hmm. Just to that point, I really like verse 12, where he says, I, wisdom, dwell with prudence, and find out knowledge of witty inventions. But like, you have to be prudent, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or diligent, in another word. You have to be diligent, like you have to look for it. So when he makes that statement, when wisdom is like, does not wisdom cry and understanding put forth her voice? Like, wisdom is out here. This Word of God is right here. It's near. It's in everybody's home. But you have to be diligent in finding this wisdom. You know what I'm saying? It's out here. Wisdom wants to be heard. Like, you know what I'm saying? But you have to put in the work to get it. But it's all worth it though, because like even verse 10 and 11, it says, receive my instructions and not silver, knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it. Yeah. Like, just to the whole like dichotomy that you was pointing out versus the flesh and the spirit. our lust versus, you know, what's right. It's like anything you can want in this life.
Yeah.
It's simply saying it's not to be compared. Like,
It's not
whether it's watching TV or you want $1 million or you want the baddest girl in the game, like none of it is worth what wisdom can give you. You know what I'm saying? That's eternal life.
Yeah.
So like the Bible says multiple times over and over again, like you gotta work to get this. But it's not like the work ain't worth the reward. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like we put in so much work for everything else in life. We need to be putting the same work for something that's going to give us an eternal reward. Like you can have $1 million right now, you die, you have nothing left.
Yep.
Right. So.
Yeah. I think even to your point, like about what it's worth, even like it can be easy to just sort of not to look at the short term and not see how things really play out at the end goal. But that's even what I think 35 and 36 points out the importance of. Mm-hmm. That you have to look at the long term. For whoso findeth me findeth life, and shall obtain favor of the Lord. If you have this word of God, if you seek diligently, that's why it says study to show yourself approved of God, right? Because that's what this wisdom is, again, the word of God. You find favor with the Lord. You find life. As Christ says, I am life, and He is the word of God, right? But then you look at 36, but he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. But if you don't hearken to this, you sin against it, you don't follow these things, it's to your own hurt. Yeah. You wrong your own soul. All they that hate me love death, because that's the harm to your own soul. You're causing death upon yourself. And that is the end goal. Because that is the long-term effect of not seeking after this wisdom. Because even it points out a lot throughout this chapter. Like verse 22 says it, no, the Lord possessed me in the beginning of his way before his works of old, before the Lord founded the earth, before the Lord created the world, like we've been reading Genesis, before Genesis 1, right. The Word of God was already established. You could see that in many other places in the book, where the Lamb of God slain from the foundation of the world, right. Where everything in this book was set up long before even Genesis 1. The Lord is, He is ever knowing in His knowledge. Like He says, I'm Alpha and Omega, beginning and the end. He knows and does everything. His hand is in everything. So this wisdom, this Word of God which He's given us, is the key to everything. In that same way, because it's been there since that beginning. Before us, before anything else that we see. But
like to that, verse 21. Those that I may cause those that love me to inherit substance, and I will fill their treasures. Like that's not even, we're not even saying like, yeah, He's gonna take care of you on this earth, but like your treasures is being stored in heaven. Like, so I mean, it's really, I like how you brought up, you know what I'm saying, the flesh versus the spirit, because that's really what this is talking about. Like we can choose to feed our flesh and like you said, die. You know what I'm saying? Or feed our spirit. Choose wisdom. Seek after wisdom. Let wisdom lead you. Let wisdom guide you. And obtain that life. You know what I mean?
So. Yeah, absolutely.
But then, just on the side note, verse 13. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil. And pride and arrogancy and the evil way of the forward mouth do I hate. Just another thing to recognize. Like when you really start to fear God, you hate. Like it's like when Jesus said, "Those that aren't with me are against me." Mm-hmm. It's like the stuff that doesn't align with Jesus, you hate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's like putting on the mind of Christ, where God, where even we read before in Proverbs 6, like these 6 things the Lord hates, 7 are an abomination to Him. The more you get in line with God, the more you understand. Yeah, that's wicked. Yeah. And He lists those things. Like one of those things is a proud look. Where the Lord just don't like it. And the closer you get to God, you're like, yeah, I see that. It's not even just the thing of like, oh, I'm following the Lord. It's like, no, I understand where He's coming from. That is not okay. That is not a good thing. That shouldn't be.
And typically, that's what everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not even just a proud look. Like, don't steal from. Don't take a man's wife. Like,
don't
all this
lie.
Stuff is extremely reasonable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even what's it, Romans 12? He says, present your bodies a living sacrifice. Because it is your reasonable service. Like, it's not like God's asking so much.
Yeah. Like, my law is not grievous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's all I got for 8.
Likewise.
All right, cool. All right, with our daily Proverbs done now, we can go to Genesis 32. Yeah. With this, we should be picking up right after Jacob has left Laban. Yeah. All right, cool. Now I'll go ahead and pick it up. Genesis 32 and verse 1. And Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. And when Jacob saw them, he said, "This is God's host." And he called the name of that place Mahanaim. And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother, unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom. And he commanded them, saying, "Thus shall ye speak unto my lord Esau. Thy servant Jacob saith thus, I have sojourned with Laban, and stayed there until now. And I have oxen and asses, flocks and men servants and women servants. And I have sent to tell my lord that I may find grace in thy sight." And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, "We came to thy brother Esau, and also he cometh to meet thee, and 400 men with him." Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him, and the flocks and herds and the camels into 2 bands, and said, "If Esau come to the one company and smite, then the other company which is left shall escape." So at this point, Jacob has left, and he's leaving Laban's field. He's going back to essentially where his brother Esau was, back to his family's land. And then Esau, the last time he saw him, was mad at him and wanted to kill him because he believed he had stolen his birthright, even though he sold it to Jacob.
Yeah.
But so Jacob's kind of afraid that Esau is still mad and is going to try and kill him when they eventually meet. So he's setting up a plan just in case. Verse 9. And Jacob said, "O God of my father Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, the Lord which said unto me, Return unto thy country, and to thy kindred, and I'll deal well with thee. I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies, and of all the truth which thou hast showed unto thy servant. For with my staff I have passed over this Jordan, and now I am become 2 bands. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau. For I fear him, lest he will come and smite me, and the mother with the children. And thou sayest, I'll surely do thee good, and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude." And he lodged there that same night, and took of that which came to his hand a present for Esau his brother, 200 she-goats, and 20 he-goats, 200 ewes, and 20 rams, 30 milk camels with their colts, 40 kine, and 10 bulls, 20 she-asses, and 10 foals. And he delivered them into the hand of his servants. And every drove by themselves, and said unto his servants, "Pass over before me, and put a space betwixt drove and drove." And he commanded the foremost, saying, "When Esau my brother meeteth thee, then asketh thee, saying, Who art thou? And whither goest thou? And whose are these before thee? Then thou shalt say, They be thy servant Jacob's. It is a present unto my lord Esau. And behold, also he is behind us." And so commanded he the second and the third, and all that followed the drove, saying, "On this manner shall ye speak unto Esau when ye find him. And say ye moreover, Behold, thy servant Jacob is behind us. For he said, I will appease him with the present that goeth before me, and afterward I will see his face. Peradventure he will accept me." So went the present over before him, and himself lodged that night in the company. And he rose up that night, and took his 2 wives, and his 2 women servants, and his 11 sons, and passed over the ford Jabbok. And he took them, and sent them over the brook, and sent over that he had. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh. And the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint, as he wrestled with him. And he said, "Let me go, for the day breaketh." And he said, "I will not let thee go, except thou bless me." He said unto him, "What is thy name?" And he said, "Jacob." And he said, "Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed." And Jacob asked him, and said, "Tell me, I pray thee, thy name." And he said, "Wherefore is it that thou dost ask after my name?" And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. So before he gets to meet Esau, as he's waiting, essentially kind of scared that Esau's gonna like come eventually kill him, he's like prepared gifts for the man. Jacob wrestled an angel. That's like what this man is. The same way that we saw in a few chapters back when it said 3 men went and appeared before Abraham. And then as you keep reading, you see that 2 of those men were angels and one of them was the Lord. And in the same way with Lot, when those 2 same angels went to go meet him, it said the 2 men. So those weren't men, they were angels, but their angels appeared as men. Right? The same way we get to see more as we read throughout the book. But here, Jacob has wrestled an angel and he's received the blessing of the Lord. And this is where we see the name change from Jacob to Israel. This is how we get the nation of Israel. Because from here on, they're called after this name, the one that the Lord had given them. With that, 31. And as he passed over Peniel, the sun rose up upon him, and he halted upon his thigh. Therefore the children of Israel eat not the sinew which shrank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh unto this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh, and the sinew that shrank. So a part of his thigh while he was wrestling, the same way his thigh went out of joint. The sinew is basically, you can think of it like the tissue of the joint. They don't eat the sinew of the thigh, like that, basically that like muscle fiber within the joint, essentially because of what happened here. But so the point, Jacob has been blessed by the Lord. This is again even where we get the name Israel.
Yeah, and to that point, just kind of to clarify,
because
as we've gone and read, we see Abraham had Ishmael, Isaac, like multiple different nations, you know what I'm saying? And then Isaac had Jacob and Esau, which is Jacob, and then you got the Edomites, and then you have Jacob. This is where Israel...
the people of Israel.
Right. So everybody from Jacob is now an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? Just it is no more, that's Israel.
It's the same way as we saw a lot within Abraham, where he would say, Isaac, thy only son.
Mm-hmm.
Because even when he dressed Ishmael and had him kicked out, was like, hey, he's not the child of promise. When I'm saying all these things like, hey, and then you even see it in this chapter where he's saying, you will have children as numerous as the sands of the sea, or as numerous as the stars. I'm not talking about him, and the covenant is not going through that Ishmael lineage. Really, you weren't even technically supposed to have him. The child was supposed to be through Sarah, but also, like to your point, Israel, the seed through which the Lord was planning to fulfill this prophet, that He had called through Abraham, is through, at this point, through Jacob. Jacob is the last line, because everyone after Jacob, Israel is an Israelite. So that's why you have the 12 tribes of Israel. Right now, you read he had 11 sons. He ends up having a 12th son. And then that's how you get your 12 tribes.
Right.
Because Abraham named after his 12 sons.
Exactly.
But, yeah. With that, I think we're good to go to 33.
Just to point out, I really like how he had the gameplay set
the gameplay.
For Esau, he was like, look, that's what we're going to do. Y'all gonna go first with the gifts, you know what I'm saying?
Then we got the second
people.
And
then we got the second people, they gonna have some gifts.
Then we got the
third people, they gonna have some gifts. And then I'm gonna come.
Right. And, even we'll see he has a further game plan after that, which is hilarious to me.
But, last time I seen you was trying to kill me.
Fair.
So it's expected.
You gotta have a game plan.
He was really smart for it, but I just think it's funny.
But it's fair. Man was trying to kill him.
Yeah, so... But real quick though, is it supposed to be like that?
Oh yeah.
Alright, well, chapter 32. You good?
Yep.
Verse 1. And Jacob went on his way.
No, we're 33 now.
33, my fault. And Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came, and with him 400 men. And he divided the children unto Leah and unto Rachel, and unto the 2 handmaids. And he put the handmaids and their children foremost, and Leah and her children after, and Rachel and Joseph hindermost. And he passed over before them and bowed himself to the ground 7 times, until he came near to his brother. And Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. And he lifted up his eyes and saw the women and the children and said, Who are those with thee? And he said, The children which God hath graciously given thy servant. Then the handmaidens came near, they and their children, and they bowed themselves. And Leah also with her children came near, and bowed themselves. And after came Joseph near him and Rachel, and they bowed themselves. And he said, What meanest thou by all this, drove which I met? And he said, These are to find grace in the sight of my Lord. And Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep that thou hast unto thyself. And Jacob said, Nay, I pray thee, if now I have found grace in thy sight, then receive my present at my hand. For therefore I have seen thy face, as though I had seen the face of God, and thou wast pleased with me. Take, I pray thee, my blessing that is brought to thee, because God hath dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough. And he urged him, and he took it. And he said, Let us take our journey, and let us go, and I will go before thee. And he said unto him, My Lord knoweth that the children are tender, and the flocks and herds with young are with me. And if men should overdrive them one day, all the flock will die. Let my Lord, I pray thee, pass over before his servants, and I will lead on softly, according as the cattle that goeth before me, and the children be able to endure, until I come unto my Lord unto Seir. And Esau said, Let me now leave with thee some of the folks that are with me. And he said, What needeth it? Let me find grace in the sight of my Lord. So Esau returned that day on his way unto Seir. And Jacob journeyed to Succoth, and built him an house, and made booths for his cattle. Therefore the name of that place is called Succoth. And Jacob came to Shalom, a city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came to Padan Aram, and pitched his tent before the city. And he bought a parcel of a field where he had spread his tent, at the head of the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of money. And he erected there an altar, and called it Elohi Israel. The end.
Right?
Yeah. But to your point, the game plan, the handmaid is gonna go first.
Yeah.
Then Leah and Rachel gonna stay with me. You know what I mean?
No. But like he runs up to the front though.
Right.
So he didn't just send the handmaid. He ran up there, met Esau. But it was just like the plan. Well, if it goes bad, the first people to die will be the handmaids and their kids. And then so like I'm here, but like I'm gonna even when he's introducing him, it's like okay, bring the handmaids first. I mean, this may be a trap. So handmaids first. It's like okay. He didn't try to kill them. He's like, bring Leah. He's like, okay. I think it's safe to bring Rachel and Joseph, and then he brings them in. That's I get plan, but like it's gotta be incredibly sad to be one of like the handmaid's kids, or just the handmaids of, or even Leah, where just like that's sad, right? That's sad. Like that, it must feel bad. But Esau, this is what I love is that Esau doesn't kill. Esau chilled out. I was like, hey, dude, like, he's like, what? He literally asked, like, what's with all the gifts? Like, and he's like, well, you know, I want a piece of bread. He's like, dude, I got enough stuff. Yeah. Like, you can keep it. And that's the funniest thing about the Esau-Edom dispute, is that Esau was chill. Yeah. Esau had gotten over what had happened with Jacob and literally just moved on with his life. He moved on and he did well. But like Edom, as we read throughout further in the book, hated the nation of Edom that came from Esau, hated the nation of Israel that came out of Jacob. Yeah. Is the irony of that. Even though Esau himself, and like we see here, ended up being cool.
It's weird. But I just want to use this time to really say, like, even in our personal lives, like, Esau could have caught Jacob and killed him and blah, blah, blah. But he got over it, got himself together, and now he good. You know what I'm saying? So just something to think about in our personal life. Like, it's not always we should get over it. Somebody do you wrong, get over it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
don't return evil for evil.
Exactly. You'll be all right. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Or even at the end of the day, like the book talks about with the Lord, vengeance is mine. Where because even at times you shouldn't even be seeking vengeance to be had.
Mercy.
Right? Like, not even just like, oh, on my, like I am not going to avenge you, but, eventually the Lord's going to do it. I mean, that's even the thing of, like, with Jonah.
Yeah.
Where Jonah, like, he wasn't planning to do anything with Nineveh, but he didn't want Nineveh to not be punished.
Right.
He was hoping that the Lord, like, please, Lord, please burn the city to the ground.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I'm not going to do it, but I want the Lord to. And when the Lord's like, well, no, they're going to, they want to turn to me, and they have, and they've repented. Jonah was mad. Like, well, like, no, he got killed. Like, he was mad that the Lord didn't kill them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's even that end. Well, like, it's mercy.
And then you got Buddy in Acts as the alternative. Stephen,
yeah.
who was literally in the process of dying.
Yeah, being killed. Murdered.
Being killed, yeah, murdered. Like, they were stoning him to death. It said, forgive them for they know not what they do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really the two separate mindsets that you can have. And the Bible says, so how you show mercy is how you going to obtain mercy. So, like, we should be giving that same grace to everybody who do us wrong. Shoot, Jesus got done wrong the most. You know?
Right, and like
and didn't deserve it.
Right. And he forgave, essentially, but he's given a chance of forgiveness to everyone, right? So, yeah.
Shoot, the same
Absolutely.
people that killed Jesus in Acts
You
turned
see
and got baptized.
Things turned got baptized.
Exactly.
And, like, we were converted to the Lord. And even like Paul being an example, even just with the Stephen example, he was, as the book puts it, consenting to his death. So whether even if he didn't physically partake in it, he was like, yeah, kill him. And then even then we see he becomes one of the greatest apostles, missionaries that we see in the New Testament.
Right.
But yeah. That's all I got for 33.
Yeah. He returned back home.
Alright. Genesis 34 and verse 1. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, which she bare to Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land. And when Shechem, the son of Hamor the Hivite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her and lay with her and defiled her. So now they're back in the land, right? They're back in what's now still called the land of Canaan, which eventually becomes the land of Israel. They're in the promised land, right? As it's called. And Hivites, as we were talking before, they're Canaanites. So these are the people living in the land. So Dinah, Jacob's daughter, Shechem, who's like the prince of the country, right? He sleeps with her. As we talked, he took her and lay with her. So lay with her meaning he slept with her and defiled her. Defiled her in the sense that he was supposed to sleep with her after marriage. But he didn't marry her and he just slept with her. Now, there's whether this was consensual. It's sometimes it can be like to some people it can be a little unclear. When the book talks about like unconsensual or non-consensual sex, it says the word forced. He forced her. And an example of that being Tamar in 2 Samuel, where Tamar was raped by her brother. And it says he forced her. Right, so for all intents and purposes, it looks like she was consenting in that because all it says is that he laid with her, which is what the book says when they're just sex happening, right? But verse 3, and his soul clave unto Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the damsel and spake kindly unto the damsel, but so he fell in love with her. He loved her, right? 4, and Shechem spake unto his father Hamor, saying, "Get me this damsel's wife." So he wanted the wife for her. He was going to make an honest woman out of her, as we would say nowadays, right? 5. And Jacob heard that he had defiled Dinah his daughter. Now his sons were with his cattle in the field, and Jacob held his peace until they were come. And Hamor the father of Shechem went out unto Jacob to commune with him. And the sons of Jacob came out of the field when they heard it, and the men were grieved, and they were very wroth, because he had wrought folly in Israel in lying with Jacob's daughter, which thing ought not to be done, because again, there's no marriage, he just slept with her. And Hamor communed with them, saying, "The soul of my son Shechem longeth for your daughter. I pray you, give her him to wife, and make ye marriages with us, and give your daughters unto us, and take our daughters unto you. And ye shall dwell with us, and the land shall be before you. Dwell and trade ye therein, and get you possessions therein." And Shechem said unto her father, and unto her brethren, "Let me find grace in your eyes, and what ye shall say unto me I will give. Ask me never so much dowry and gift. I'll give according as ye shall say unto me, but give me the damsel to wife." So he's like, hey, whatever you want from me, I'm willing to do. I really want to marry, but like your sister and your daughter Dinah. 13. And the sons of Jacob answered Shechem. So this is Simeon and Levi. And Hamor, his father, deceitfully, and said, because he had defiled Dinah, their sister. So he's mad that he defiled her, slept with her. And they said unto them, we cannot do this thing to give our sister to one that is uncircumcised. For that were a reproach unto us. Because remember, circumcision was a sign of the covenant, and even the strangers that were, and anyone who's bought anyone had to be circumcised. 15. But in this will we consent unto you, if ye will be as we be, that every male of you be circumcised. Then will we give our daughters unto you, and we will take your daughters to us, and we will dwell with you, and we will become one people. But if we will not hearken, but if you will not hearken to us to be circumcised, then will we take our daughter, and we will be gone. And their words pleased Hamor, and Shechem Hamor's son. And the young man deferred not to do the thing, because he had delight in Jacob's daughter. And he was more honorable than all the house of his father. He was honorable. And he was like, okay, I'll do that. And Hamor and Shechem his son came unto the gate of their city, and communed with the men of their city, saying, these men are peaceable with us. Therefore, let them dwell in the land and trade therein. For the land, behold, it is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters to us for wives, and let us give them our daughters. Only herein will the men consent unto us for to dwell with us, to be one people, if every male among us be circumcised, as they are circumcised. Shall not their cattle and their substance and every beast of theirs be ours? Only let us consent unto them, and they will dwell with us. And unto Hamor and unto Shechem his son hearkened all that went out of the gate of his city. And every male was circumcised, all that went out of the gate of his city. And it came to pass on the third day, when they were sore, that two of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brethren, took each man his sword, and came upon the city boldly, and slew all the males. So while all the men were sore from getting circumcised, which hurts, Simeon and Levi just ran through the city and killed them all. And they slew Hamor and Shechem his son with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechem's house and went out. The sons of Jacob came upon the slain, and spoiled the city, because they had defiled their sister. And they took their sheep, and their oxen, and their asses, and that which was in the city, and that which was in the field, and all their wealth, and all their little ones, and their wives took they captive, and spoiled even all that was in the house. And Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, ye have troubled me to make me to stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites. And I being few in number, they shall gather themselves together against me, and slay me. Then I shall be destroyed, and I and my house. So Jacob's like, you guys, what have you guys done? You guys have made us, he said, stink. You guys have made us look bad against all the people of the land, because we made an agreement with these people, and then they upheld their agreement, and then you just went and killed everyone. Like, no one's gonna be okay with that. Like, they're gonna come and try to kill all of us. And then even you just look at their response, 31. And they said, should he deal with our sister as with an harlot, because he had slept with her without being married? And I think Genesis 34 is a really good example of emotions, right? Of emotions clouding judgment, right? Because here's the thing, Shechem was wrong. Shechem was wrong because he slept with her without marrying her, right? He didn't marry her, he just went and slept with her, right? Even just to the point that, like, it is consensual, is that even, like it says, Shechem was more honorable than all the men of his, all the house of his father. Which necessarily doesn't mean he wasn't a bad person, but just that speaks to it. And also, it literally says he laid with her, which, again, it just says something different when there's rape involved. It says force. But still to the point, he tried to do right, though. After the fact, and the book even talks about that in the law, about if a man were to do that, what he's supposed to do is marry her. That's what he's supposed to do. And Shechem did do that. So Shechem made a mistake, but very clearly was trying to make up for it, even before that law was technically, like, given or written out, as when we see in, like, Exodus and Leviticus, right? Mm-hmm. But still to the point, Levi and Simeon were so like distracted by their like I guess emotion, just that like he slept with our sister without marrying, like did her as though a harlot, that they legit just murdered so many people had nothing to do, even had nothing to do with the situation. It would even be one thing if they went and killed Shechem, or even they killed Shechem and Hamor, but they killed the entire city and then stole all of their stuff, and then as the book puts it, stole their wives. So it's like, well, you've gone so far outside of right, and you've justified it within your emotions. And the thing is that it's so easy for us to even do. Granted, not maybe something to this level of like murdering an entire city or nation of people, right? But for us to justify wrong because we are like in our emotions, and it can be very easy to let our emotions, like use our emotions to validate or justify what we're doing. And that's like a very dangerous thing to do. Because I guess you end up like this. And we're like getting a little ahead of it, but like at the end of Genesis 50, Jacob ends up giving blessings out to all the sons. The same way we see Isaac do to Jacob and Esau. And he speaks very poorly about Simeon and Levi. Because he said like he directly talks about this great wickedness they did to Shechem and Hamor and all the Hivites. Because like that was wrong with you. And at that point, this is decades later, but it's still to the point where y'all literally killed an entire city, nation of people out of your own like emotion. Even though like the boy genuinely did what is given by God, the law, the right thing to do after he made the mistake. He tried to wipe her up, and he even tried to like made a covenant with his entire people. To follow what he was saying.
Because it wasn't even no regular, like, getting circumcised.
Getting circumcised is
like
a crazy thing.
Like,
that hurts.
Yes.
They said the third day, this is 3 days after it happened, and they're still so sore they couldn't even defend themselves when 2 dudes ran up and killed them all.
Yeah.
Think about that.
It's crazy.
If I'm not mistaken, does it not say in Genesis 50 that even if you killed a man more honorable than you?
Not that I can recall. I can
check Genesis 50 real quick. I may be misremembering that. Not 50. No, it simply says in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dig down the wall. It doesn't say he necessarily was a good or even a bad man. It just says they killed a man. But it's all still the point. It even directly calls out their cruelty in Genesis 50. Literally says the word. But also the point, yeah. The danger of emotion. But yeah, that's all I have to say about the report.
Yeah, likewise, man. It's just a story.
Yeah, a crazy story.
It's a crazy story. It's like the movies we see today. Really, two people really masterminded. Because it was them that gave like. It's like they already had that in their mind. You know what I'm saying?
I know down in my mind they probably.
Yeah, it was like, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna have them circumcise themselves. And then go and take them all out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wonder even how far they thought about just taking all the stuff too.
Yeah. And then we get all the stuff.
Yeah. Like we can actually make we can make some gain off of it. We can make some money. We can actually end up turn a profit.
That whole thought process reminds me of that Proverbs 1. Like if sinners entice thee, consent thou not.
Yeah.
And then he talks about how like the people are talking about all the gain they can get from it and stuff like this. Like. Not even mention it.
Let's all have one verse.
I bet in verse 31 when he said, like when they tried to justify themselves, defend themselves, this probably wasn't even really what was on their mind, you know?
Like it may have just been even only been a part of their desire for doing it.
Mm-hmm. That's just
like a speculation.
Speculation,
But still to the point, it's just like very clear. Like it's you guys were wrong.
Yeah.
And whatever reasoning you had, it didn't really matter. Because he says regularly, out of your anger you slew. Which, like, again, you had no reason at that point to... Which even goes back to the mercy talk and forgiveness. Where this is... I would say this is, again, like, the idea of it being consensual. It's small thing to be forgiven. He literally was going to make an honest woman out of her. He literally was going to. So, like, he was going to do everything right. Follow every demand you said. And you still murdered the man and everyone in his city and kingdom without mercy.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But, chapter 35, in verse 1. And God said unto Jacob, Arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make thee an altar unto God, that appeared unto thee when thou fleddest from the face of Esau thy brother. Then Jacob said unto his household, and to all that were with him, Put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments. And let us arise, and go up to Bethel, and I will make there an altar unto God, who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way which I went. And they gave unto Jacob all the strange gods which were in their hand, and all their earrings which were in their ears. And Jacob hid them under the oak which was by Shechem. And they journeyed. And the terror of God was upon the cities that were round about them. And they did not pursue after the sons of Jacob. So Jacob came to Luz, which is in the land of Canaan, that is, Bethel, he and all the people that were with him. And he built there an altar, and called the place El Bethel, because there God appeared unto him when he fled from the face of his brother. But Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and she was buried beneath Bethel under an oak, and the name of it was called Elon Bakuth. And God appeared unto Jacob again, when he came out of Padan Aram, and blessed him. And God said unto him, Thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. So they're just going back to when he was wrestling with that man.
Yeah.
This is showing that he was God, right?
Mm-hmm.
Verse 11. And God said unto him, I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. And the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac, to thee I will give it, and to thy seed after thee will I give the land. And God went up from him in the place where he talked with them. And Jacob set up a pillar in the place where he talked with them, even a pillar of stone. And he poured a drink offering thereon, and he poured oil thereon. And Jacob called the name of the place where God spake with him, Bethel. And they journeyed from Bethel, and there was but a little way to come to Ephraim. And Rachel travailed, and she had hard labor. And it came to pass, when she was in hard labor, that the midwife said unto her, Fear not, thou shalt have this son also. And it came to pass, as her soul was in departing, for she died, that she called his name Benoni, but his father called him Benjamin. And Rachel died and was buried in the way to Ephraim, which is Bethlehem. And Jacob set up a pillar upon her grave, that is the pillar of Rachel's grave unto this day. And Israel journeyed and spread his tent beyond the tower of Edar. And it came to pass, when Israel dwelt in that land, that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah his father's concubine. And Israel heard it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. The sons of Leah, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Simeon, and Levi, and Judah, and Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin. And the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, Dan and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, Gad and Asher. These are the sons of Jacob which were born to him in Padan Aram. And Jacob came unto Isaac his father, unto Mamre, unto the city of Arba, which is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac sojourned. And the days of Isaac were 180 years. And Isaac gave up the ghost, and died, and was gathered unto his people, being old and full of days. And his sons Esau and Jacob buried him.
Yeah. So you just have Jacob, again, like you said, like Jacob, like name change to Israel. I always say like the confirming of the covenant, but it's the same thing where like, hey, The land I gave to Abraham, I gave to Isaac, I'm giving it to you. It's the same passing of the torch. This is the bloodline. This is like the finalizing of it. Like, because everyone out of Jacob, everyone out of Abraham is not the lineage I'm doing now. Everyone out of Isaac is not the lineage. So Jacob, these 12, everyone out of Jacob, his 12 sons, that is the lineage now. That is the nation of Israel. That is the lineage through which he prophesied all these things are coming. The nation of Israel. Right? So it's like he told them, hey, whatever strange gods we have amongst us right now, get them out, Dodge. They can't be here. Rachel has her last kid, Benjamin, which gives us the 12 tribes, which he named here. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher. Yep. Yeah, and those 12. And then we get, unfortunately, the death of Isaac, who lived even 104 square years, 180 years old.
Yeah.
Which, again, I always think it's so fascinating looking at it, because you see, like, if you just think about Noah, who wasn't too far away, was, like, he lived to, like, be 600, you know? But, like, how quickly those ages diminished.
Yeah.
To where even Abraham and Isaac, them being, like, the patriarchs, right, literally only lived to be 180, which is, like, double what most people do. I like, that's being generous.
Yeah, super generous.
Very generous. But
and then we see Reuben lay with his father's wife. So
you bet Jacob brings that back up in like Genesis 49.
Yeah.
Don't forget. Which you also have to think about how crazy that is for. Wait, which one did he sleep with again? Reuben went with Bilhah, and Bilhah's kids were Dan and Naphtali. That'd be crazy for Dan and Naphtali. Your older brother to sleep with your mother.
Yeah, that's weird.
Had to be real bad. Which is like and it's against the law. It's against it's against the law. You can't sleep. I mean, you can't sleep with your father's wife, but like not even just like in the adultery sense, but also like specifically, even if he's dead. And actually, something that we see almost later happen with darn, what's his name? I'm blanking on the man's name. With Solomon, the guy who tried to take the kingdom from him.
Yeah.
Adonijah? No, isn't it Adonijah?
I'm pretty sure that's
Adonijah.
Oh, was that David's son? That was David's son.
But this is also David's
Oh,
son.
right.
There's Absalom and there's Adonijah. And he tried to have David's like last fight he had before he died. What was her name?
He was like, and then what you asking for the kingdom too?
Like you were gonna ask for the kingdom
Bathsheba
too.
Go and
he asked Adonijah asked Bathsheba to do it. I cannot remember the name of the wife, but a man named Adonijah in 1 Kings tried to pull a similar thing, trying to get his. Well, at least he waited until his father was dead.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that makes it better.
Nah, I don't.
But still, to the point, Reuben was dead wrong,
Yeah.
and he gets called out on it later, especially.
Mm-hmm.
But with that, that's all we have to say about chapter 35. All right, now we go on to chapter 36. Now, these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. So this is how we get, like, the nation of Edom, the Edomites, sometimes also called in the Bible Idumea. So, and they lived around the same area of Israel. So, verse 2. Esau took his wives as the daughters of Canaan. Adah, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Aholibamah, the daughter of Anna, the daughter of Zibeon the Hivite, and Bashemath, Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nabijah, because remember, even it says Isaac and Rebekah were like stressed out essentially about him marrying Canaanite women, so he decided, hey, we'll marry some Ishmaelite women that'll make him happy. Verse 4. And Adah bare to Esau Eliphaz, and Bashemath bare Ruel, and Aholibamah bare Jeush, and Jalam, and Korah. These are the sons of Esau, which were born unto him in the land of Canaan. And Esau took his wives, and his sons, and his daughters, and all the persons of his house, and his cattle, and all his beasts, and all his substance, which he had got in the land of Canaan, and went into the country from the face of his brother Jacob. For their riches were more than they might dwell together, and the land wherein they were strangers could not bear them because of their cow. So they could physically, it's the same as really what happened with Abraham and Lot. We can't both dwell here together. They're on friendly terms. But we both physically cannot be here together because we just have so much stuff. So Esau left and went and got his own land. Verse 8, thus Esau dwelt in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. And it's pointing out here, this is how Edom was established, because that's where they lived, in Mount Seir. Which, no, the map is too small. If Mount Seir is about here, if you can tell on the map, it's about here, which is by Israel, which is here.
East of Israel?
Yeah,
South?
east of, yeah. So it's about here is where Edom would have been. But still to the point, so that's how he ended up establishing what would end up being his land. Verse 10, these are the names of Esau's sons. Eliphaz, the son of Adah, the wife of Esau. Ruel, the son of Bashemath, the wife of Esau. The sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, and Gatam, and Kenaz. And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. These were the sons of Adah, Esau's wife. And these are the sons of Ruel, Nahath, and Zerah, Shema, and Mizah. These were the sons of Bashemath, Esau's wife. And these were the sons of Aholibama, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibeon, Esau's wife. And she bare to Esau Jeush, and Jalam, and Korah. These were the dukes of the sons of Esau, the sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn son of Esau. Duke Teman, Duke Omar, Duke Zepho, Duke Kenaz, Duke Korah, Duke Gatam, and Duke Amalek. These are the dukes that came of Eliphaz in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Adah. And these are the sons of Ruel, Esau's son, Duke Nahath, Duke Zerah, Duke Shema, Duke Mizah. These are the dukes that came of Ruel in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Bashemath, Esau's wife. And these are the sons of Aholibama, Esau's wife, Duke Jeush, Duke Jalam, Duke Korah. These were the dukes that came of Aholibama, the daughter of Anah, Esau's wife. These are the sons of Esau, who is Edom, and these are their dukes. These are the sons of Seir, the Horite who inhabited the land, Lotan and Shobal and Zibeon and Anah, and Dishon and Ezer and Dishon. These are the dukes of the Horites, the children of Seir in the land of Edom. And the children of Lotan were Hori and Hemam, and Lotan's sister was Timnah. And the children of Shobal were these, Alvin and Mehanath and Ebal, Shepho and Onam. And these are the children of Zibeon, both Ajah and Anah. This was that Anah that found the mules in the wilderness as he fed the asses of Zibeon, his father. And the children of Anon were these, Dishon and Aholibama, the daughter of Anah. And these are the children of Dishon, Hemdan and Eshban and Ithron and Kiran. The children of Ezer are these, Bilhan and Zavan and Akan. The children of Dishon are these, Uz and Aran. These are the dukes that came of the Horites, Duke Lotan, Duke Shobal, Duke Zibeon, Duke Anah, Duke Dishon, Duke Ezer, Duke Dishan. These are the dukes that came of Hori, among their dukes in the land of Seir. And these are the kings that reigned in the land of Edom, before there reigned any king over the land of Israel. And Bela, the son of Beor, reigned in Edom, and the name of his city was Dinhabah. And Bela died, and Jobab, the son of Zerah of Bozrah, reigned in his stead. And Jobab died, and Husham of the land of Tamani reigned in his stead. And Husham died, and Hadad, the son of Bedad, who smote Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his stead. And the name of his city was Abid, and Hadad died. And Samlah of Masrekah reigned in his stead, and Samlah died. And Saul of Rehoboth by the river reigned in his stead. And Saul died, and Baal-Hanan, the son of Akbor, reigned in his stead. And Baal-Hanan, the son of Akbor, died, and Hadar reigned in his stead. And the name of his city was Palu, and his wife's name was Mehetabel, the daughter of Matred, the daughter of Mezahab. And these are the names of the dukes that came of Esau, according to their families after their places by their names. Duke Timnah, Duke Alva, Duke Jetheth, Duke Aholibama, Duke Elah, Duke Pinon, Duke Kenaz, Duke Teman, Duke Mibzar, Duke Magiel, Duke Aram. These be the dukes of Edom according to their habitations in the land of their possession. He is Esau, the father of the Edomites. Alright, that's 36. Okay, so there's a lot of that, which it feels like a lot, right? But really what's just being talked about here is the establishing of what was the kingdom of Edom. So we say like these different dukes. All a duke is really is a position of authority. You can think of it like a mini king, right? So these are just the people who ruled throughout the land, and it even goes further in verse 31. These are the kings that reigned in the land of Edom before there reigned any king over the children of Israel. For a long while, Israel didn't have a king. We weren't really supposed to. God was supposed to be our king, but we really wanted one because other people had them. So we eventually did get one. But before that, Edom was an established country as well, and they just had kings of their own. And this is listing of all the people who reigned in the kingdom of Edom. So this is Edom. So this is just showing like all the people who reigned, just the growth and structure of their kingdom. Just establishing like Edom was. And that's the thing where it can be sort of a loss where sometimes in the Bible we talk about like we see Egypt, we see Ethiopia at times, we see Rome, Greece, so many other things that if they do not exist today, we at least have a large familiarity with them, or at least we know where they were in the history. As far as Edom is concerned, Edom largely is not as widely known.
Right.
Unfortunately. And that is for a reason. And that's even something that's talked about in the prophets a lot, Obadiah being a key example. When Israel, a bit of a spoiler, Israel was taken into captivity by both Assyria and Babylon, the Edomites moved into the land, which is even what's talked about in the book of Obadiah. And that same thing sort of happened, we even can see further into the New Testament, happened a lot more times, where to the point where Israel, whenever they would get kicked out, Edom would basically ransack the city and they would move in. To the point where Edom, in the same way as we've talked about before with Ishmael, them living in this same, which when you look at the larger map, is a very small area. Whenever Israel was kicked out, Ishmael, the Canaanites, as well as Edom would all move into the land. To the point where they now inhabit the land more so than not, because of Israel constantly being kicked out. The prime example being in, if you don't know for history, 70 AD, when the Romans burned Jerusalem to the ground and destroyed what was currently was the last temple to ever have been there. So that's even why it's really cool and interesting to even see how Edom functioned before they kind of just all start intermingling into the land now, because Edom is no longer a country. Its own sole country. They sort of moved and assimilated into the countries that are now. But all still to the point. So that's all really 36. It's talking about the generations, the creation of what was the kingdom of Edom, which is now just more so Israelis, people who moved in. Even a lot of Jewish people, their lineage is actually Edom. Or even Gentiles, because you have the Ashkenazi Jews as well that converted in Europe. But that's a whole other thing. But yeah. Anything else to talk about 36?
Not particularly. No, you pretty much hit it on the head. But I'll read 37 now.
Alright, cool.
And Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren. And the lad was with the sons of Bilhah, and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. So Joseph started snitching on his brothers. You know what I mean? Verse 3. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all of his brethren, they hated him, and could not speak peaceably unto him. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it to his brethren, and they hated him yet more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves stood round about, and made obeisance to my sheep. So right here we see Joseph having a dream. He's telling all his brethren, like he's telling them what happened in the dream. He was like, we was all binding sheaves, and mine rose, and y'all all bowed down to me, basically. Yep. In verse 8, and his brethren said to him, shalt thou indeed reign over us? Or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. So now they hate him. You know what I mean? Verse 9. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said, behold, I have dreamed more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. And he told it to his father and to his brethren. And his father rebuked him, and said unto him, what is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee, to the earth? So now he had another dream. Yeah. And not only is it the 11 brethren, it's the sun and the moon, and the father, right? Verse 11. And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the same. And his brethren went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said unto Joseph, do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send thee unto them. And he said to him, Here am I. And he said to him, go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren, and well with the flocks, and bring me word again. So he sent him out to the vale of he came to Shechem, and a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, what seekest thou? And he said, tell me, I pray thee, where. And the man said, they are departed hence, for I heard them say, let us go to Dothan. And Joseph went after his brethren, and found them in Dothan. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him. And they said one to another, behold, this dreamer cometh. We shall see what will become of his dreams. And he delivered him out of their hands, and said, let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto them, shed no blood, but cast him into the pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hands upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands, to deliver him to his father again. So right now you got Joseph. Joseph was going to go check on his brothers, right? Yeah. And so he goes and finds them, and then when the brothers see him, they start planning how they're going, like they're trying to kill him. Like they hate him this much, they're trying to kill him. They're planning the scheme. But then the oldest brother, Reuben, pops in and was like, let's not kill him. He was like, let's not kill him, right? Verse 22. And Reuben said unto them, shed no blood, but cast him into the pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hands on him, that he might rid him out of their hands, to deliver him to his father again. And it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph of his coat of many colors that was on him. And they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty. There was no water. And they sat down to eat bread. And they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels, bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah said unto his brethren, what profit is it if we slay our brethren and conceal his blood? Come, and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh. And his brethren were content. Then there passed by Midianite merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And they brought Joseph into Egypt. And Reuben returned unto the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he rent his clothes. And he returned unto his brethren, and said, the child is not, and I, whither shall I go? And they took Joseph's coat, and killed the kid of the goats, and dipped the coat in the blood. And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father, and said, this have we found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or no. And he knew it, and said, it is my son's coat. An evil beast hath devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces. And Jacob rent his clothes, and put sackcloth upon his loins, and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, for I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's, and captain of the guard. Yeah.
Sad. So sad.
Super sad.
Yeah. I mean, I think this, like, obviously, but the book of the story of Joseph is a very good example of both jealousy and envy, where, what were you guys really afraid of? Like, okay, he's favored, so why is that taking something away from you guys? Like, his mom's dead.
Right.
And then even the thing of like, oh, he has a coat of many colors. As it says, like, his mother may have not been dead this time. It's a little, like, the timeline isn't necessarily exact. So his mom may have not been dead. Like, when the thing of, like, them selling him happened. Right? But even, like, his coat of many colors. It's like, okay, you know what I mean? Where it's like, alright, that's, that is worth you wanting to kill your own brother over? Where it's just like, again, it kind of goes back to Simeon and Levi with, like, emotions. Where it's just like, you allowed yourself to, like, go this far. Reuben talked them back, really, like, allowing them to do this thing and planning to, like, just get the boy out of Dodge. And just to be like, hey, Dad, sounds kind of crazy. Like that, I know we aren't exactly on speaking terms right now because I slept with your wife. But, yeah, I mean, look, your other sons are crazy too. Like, we already know what happened with Simeon and Levi. The other ones, they legit want to kill Joseph. So maybe don't send them here for a while. But, like, you know, obviously, like, they sold him away. Where it's just like you can be completely blinded by, or even like with them being mad at his dreams. Where it's like, well, like, obviously we know, like, hearing that, you know what that dream means. Mm-hmm. But even like I think it's even cool to see with his father, where he reacts sort of the same way as his brothers, where he's like, well, what, shoot, am I and your mother, are we going to bow down to you too? But then even like a verse right after that, verse 11, and his brethren envied him, but his father observed the same. Where even his father took a second to step back and be like, well, the Lord may be saying something, or showing something here. While his brothers completely were consumed by their envy, and didn't really take the same, I guess, just the humility, or just time to, like, step back and be like, huh. Like, what, like, maybe there is something to that. Maybe it's not just a kid trying to, like, lift himself up. Maybe the Lord is showing me something, or showing us something. You know? Mm-hmm. So it's like even that, where sometimes you just have to have the humility to even if it was nothing, right? Where the humility to say, like, what does it matter, bro? In real life, murder is not, like, the answer, and this situation is definitely not worth murder. Or even just beating him up. Or any of that stuff, right?
Yeah. I also, like, because everything you're saying is true, but I also want to put it from the mind, like, thought process of Joseph.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot, and a lot of times in our life, we need to be using wisdom. Like, I'm not even gonna make, like, Joseph, you're not gonna say he was wrong at all. He did nothing wrong. He told his dream. Yeah. But sometimes, not everything needs to be said to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, they already don't like you. I don't know if he knew that already or something.
Like, maybe it wasn't perfectly, like, maybe he was young. He just didn't perfectly understand that, like, they had out for him. Which, to be fair, even if your brothers don't like you, you wouldn't expect them to want to kill you. Yeah. Which is, like, one thing. Like at this point, it's been, like, general annoyance. Right. They took a full step into, we're going to kill him. Yeah. So, like, which is, like, you got to give them, like, some fairness.
Right. That's why I said he's not.
Yeah, like, no, yeah,
of course. Saying in our lives, like, something good happened to you or something, like,
you gotta operate in wisdom.
Exactly.
Or even just like
the Bible say, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Like, not everything is
needs
for
to be
everybody.
said. And I think even like David could be like a sort of good example of that, where David was no king. No, right. Saul is the king. Look, the Lord's gonna make me king. He will do it whenever, and I don't need to tell anyone. The Lord will do it. I don't need to tell anyone that I'm the next king. that the Lord is going to figure out that happens.
And then
There's nothing good that's going to come out of me saying.
And then vice versa, you had that one, what was it, man of God, who was told to keep going and don't turn around. And he was talking so much, he ended up getting the seed and things.
Yeah, like he said, like, well, because here's the thing. I'm told not to go back at all. So I'm told not to go back at all. I'm told not to go back at all. And I'm going to talk to this guy and tell him, well, the Lord told me not to go back at all. And he just, well, the Lord told me. Where like, it's like, well, you didn't even need to talk to dude. You could have just kept it pushing.
Yeah.
But like, you need to, I guess tell them. And that's like one of those things,
Yeah. So, but yeah, so simply put, for Joseph, I like to put it like, if that was me, not everything needs to be said. But he was not wrong, and it was prophecy. And like you said with Jacob, Jacob took, like, he was wise enough to observe the same, like, but anyway.
Yeah. It's even crazier.
Jealousy, man.
Jealousy is raging, yeah.
Like, jealousy, what have you doing? Like, they were
some crazy
jealous,
stuff.
They felt some type of way, man. You do a lot of crazy things being jealous, But what were you saying?
With emotions in general.
Yeah.
But actually, even the people he got sold to, like a funny tidbit. Like, he got sold to Ishmael, basically his cousin, same with Midian, because Midian was the Keturah's kids, right? Mm-hmm. So it's even then he's sold within family a little bit. But yeah, still the point, just like you said, jealousy, envy, also the same thing. It just ruins you. Yeah, at the end of it, right? Because, ironically enough, in their anger against his dreams, this was exactly the thing that led to the dreams coming true, right? It's all prophecy anyway, right? So it was meant to happen. It was the Lord's plan, but that directly is what caused the thing you guys were even mad about. So, yeah. All right. Ready for 38?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Genesis 38 and verse 1. And it came to pass at that time that Judah went down from his brethren and turned into a certain Adulamite, whose name was Hiram. And Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite, whose name was Shua. And he took her and went in unto her. And she conceived and bare a son. And he called his name And she conceived again and bare a son. And she called his name Onan. And she yet again conceived and bare a son. And called his name Shelah. And he was at Chezib when she bare him. And Judah took a wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar. And Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord slew him. So Tamar's husband is now dead. And Judah said to Onan, Go into thy brother's wife, and marry her, and raise up seed to thy brother. So this was a tradition in Israel. You even see it like in the law, where if like a brother married a wife, and he did couldn't have kids with her, and he died, however, right? What the wife could do was marry his brother. They have a kid together, and they get married and they have a kid together, and their first kid was considered the dead brother's kid, right? So that Judas is telling Tamar and his other son to essentially do the same thing, right? And Judah said to Onan, Go in unto thy brother's wife, and marry her, and raise up seed to thy brother. And Onan knew that the seed should not be his. Like I said, that first kid would technically be considered the firstborn kid that died. And it came to pass, when he went in unto his brother's wife, they spilled it on the ground, lest that he should give seed to his brother. So when he, to fulfill the duty, went in unto her, had sex with her, he spilled his seed on the ground. I mean, he pulled out, right? I don't know what other way to really say it. Right? So, he did not fulfill his duty. So he was willing, and that's, I'll go ahead and read 10. And the thing which he did displeased the Lord, wherefore he slew him also. So the Lord got upset about it, because you were willing to sleep with your brother's wife, go unto her. But the whole purpose of doing it, to give a child, that would be, unto your brother's lineage, continuous lineage, you didn't want to do that part. But you wanted the sex. But you didn't want the actual duty. So it's you just committed wickedness. You slept with her just for the sake of sleeping with her. You're here for a purpose. You're here for a duty. like in this specific instance, supposed to have a kid with her in order for that kid to be considered your brother's seed. But you want pleasure, but you didn't want the responsibility. You get pulled out. So the Lord got mad and killed her. Right? Verse 11. Then said Judah to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, remain a widow at thy father's house, till Shelah my son be grown. For he said, lest peradventure he die also, as his brethren did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. So he's like, okay, we got another son that can do basically fulfill the same duty, but we have to wait for him to be grown. So continue being a widow in your father's house. And once he's grown, then we'll make another attempt at this. Right? 12. And in the process of time, the daughter of Shua, Judah's wife, died. And Judah was comforted, and went up into his sheep shearers to Timnath, he and his friend Hirah and Adulamite. Hirah the Adulamite. It was told Tamar, saying, behold, thy daughter-in-law goeth up to Timnath to shear sheep. So he's left for, essentially, like someone's died, and he's now going up to, just take care, he's leaving. He went to his sheep shearers to Timnath. So he's gone up to Timnath. And Tamar's basically heard about it. It's like, oh, he's coming to the area, right? 14. And she put her widow's garments off from her, and covered herself with a veil, and wrapped herself and sat in an open place, which is by the way to Timnath, where she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was not given unto him to wife. So she's like, oh, he's coming up here. So now it's time. Now it's time, Shelah's grown up. Now it's time for us to make the reattempt, right? So she puts on a veil, so on and so forth. 15. And when Judah saw her, he thought her to be an harlot, because she had covered her face. He thought she was a harlot, essentially a prostitute. 16. And he turned unto her by the way, and said, go to, I pray thee, let me come in unto thee. For he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law. So he didn't know it was Tamar. And she said, well, wilt thou give me, that thou mayest come in unto me? And he said, I will send thee a kid from the flock. And she said, wilt thou give me a pledge till thou send it? So now he's like, okay, well, can I sleep with you? She's like, okay, well, you give me. He said, I'll give you a sheep. And she's like, okay, what's your pledge? So basically, you give me this item until you give me, you can think of it as insurance. You give me this thing that I keep until you pay me, and then I give it back. So my pledge. 18. And he said, what pledge shall I give thee? And she said, thy signet, and thy bracelet, and thy staff as in thy hand. So give me your bracelet, give me your staff, give me some of your cloak. And he gave it to her and came in unto her, so he had sex with her, and she conceived by him. And she had his kid. And she arose and went away, and laid by her veil from her, and put on the garments of her widowhood. So she took off what she was wearing and put the gowns of her widowhood back on. And Judah sent the kid by the hand of his friend the Adulamite to receive his pledge from the woman's hand. So he sent the sheep, but found her not. Then he asked the men of that place, saying, where's the harlot house openly by the wayside? So he's like, well, where's the harlot? She didn't receive the payment, the sheep. And they said, there was no harlot in this place. They're like, there was no harlot here. What do you mean? And he returned to Judah and said, I cannot find her. And also the man of the place said, there was no harlot in this place. And Judah said, take it to her, lest we be shamed. Behold, I sent this kid, and thou hast not found her. So he's like, there's nothing I can do. I can't find her. I can't give her the sheep. And it came to pass, about 3 months after, that it was told Judah, saying, Tamar thy daughter-in-law hath played the harlot. And also, behold, she is with child by whoredom. And Judah said, bring her forth, and let her be burnt. So she's pregnant, right, by Judah, but of course none of them know that. So they think she's played the whore. She's just slept with she hasn't married anyone, right? Because she's still in her gown of widowhood, right? She hasn't slept with anyone. She hasn't married anyone, but she obviously hasn't slept with someone because she's pregnant, right? And it's been some time since either son died, so it's not there. 25. And when she was brought forth, she said to her father-in-law, saying, by the man whose these are, am I child? And she said, discern, I pray thee, whose are these? The signet and bracelet stuff. So she shows the stuff he had given her, hey, whose stuff this is? That's my baby daddy. 26. And Judah acknowledged them and said, she had been more righteous than I, because I gave her not to Shelah my son, and he knew her again no more. And he was just like, hey, I was supposed to give her to my son, to fulfill the duty, and I didn't do that. So he's like, hey, she played me. She's more righteous than I. And he never went into her again. 27. And it came to pass in the time of her travail that, behold, twins were in her womb. And it came to pass when she travailed that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took and bound upon his hand the scarlet thread, saying, This came out first. And it came to pass, as he drawed back his hand, that behold, his brother came out, and she said, How hast thou broken forth? His breach be upon thee. Therefore his name was called Pharez. And afterward came out his brother, that had the scarlet thread upon his hand, and his name was called Zerah. Right. So yeah, here we have like a very interesting story
Super interesting.
with Judah and Tamar. Where I think it's an interesting thing with just even like Judah, like whether like that was your daughter-in-law or not. That was a harlot. You should have been sleeping with her anyway.
For sure.
You should have been sleeping with her anyway, and that got you even more caught up, right? But still to the point, I think Onan is like a very funny part because not even like not about like, even like any of like the pull out stuff, but just plainly. Because it's like an interesting thing that, like, of course, fits many like criteria, like where you want the good, but you don't want to take the responsibility, right? And that's even something of just like sex in general. People want to like fornicate, they want to have sex, but they don't want the responsibility of marriage, right? Like Paul talks about, like, hey, it's better to marry than to burn, because that's essentially it. Like, you can't just fornicate because that's burning. So you have to get married if you want to just have sex that way.
Yeah.
But that's like such a like, especially nowadays, that's such a thing because it's like, well, why do I have to do that? Well, it's like that's part of the responsibility. You can't just be sleeping around with everyone. You got like, if you want to do this, if you want to have sex, you gotta lock it down. You gotta get married. That's just like the order of it. Like, you need to see that same thing all the way back here with Onan. He didn't want the order. He didn't want to fulfill the responsibility. For whatever reason in his mind, he didn't want to fulfill the responsibility. Yeah. Yeah. I think even an interesting thing, too, is like Pharez. That is who David came out of. Like, this is David's great-grandfather, I believe. I think it went, like, we can track it back and even look at Jesus' genealogy. Because Jesus comes from this line, too, because Jesus comes from David. And David comes from him. That, like, I think it is, like, his great-great-grandfather. But, well, actually, no. It's way more greats than that. Yeah, I had to stop for a second. I'm like, well, no, there's way more greats than that. But this is it's at least 7 to 8 greats. But still to the point. Yeah, at least 7 to 8 greats. But still to the point, it's even a thing like, small beginnings, I guess you could say. Or does it matter really where you where you come from, or what your lineage is? Because even sometimes people make that an issue.
Right.
But yeah, that being said, we're done with 38. Do you want to call it here? Because here would be a good place to stop, because then we just go to Joseph. Yep.
Yeah. That's probably best.
Alright. Then yeah, I think we'll call it here with Genesis 38. We'll pick up tomorrow with Genesis 39. From there, we'll see more about the story of Joseph. But then we got 32 through 38. There's
plus
a lot.
2 chapters.
Oh yeah, plus 2 chapters of Proverbs.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to see. We saw Jacob. We saw the 12 tribes of Israel. We saw the covenant confirmed with him. Jacob's name being changed to Israel. We even got to see, I think, just really, I feel like the Bible has a lot of really good examples of not only just like sin, but just how like sin behaves, right? About like what causes you to sin, your emotion or your anger or like whatever else, right? But yeah, I think the Proverbs were great too, especially the dichotomy of like, especially with the stuff we read, the strange woman and wisdom. But with that, I think we're good. Study, show yourself approved. Work out with your own salvation, with fear and trembling. Always read the Word of God. Every single part of this book is from the Lord and by the inspiration of God, and is good for knowledge, is good for reproof, it is good for everything, instruction. So, yeah. Charity's bond of perfectness and all that. Be kind, have the fruits of the Spirit. And that, yeah, I think we're done.
Good. Strengthen yourself.
Strengthen yourself.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Come on.